This conference will now be recorded.
So today we'll be going through this LoadRunner demo session. My name is Krushik. I have around 14 years of experience in IT, specifically into automation and performance engineering. So without further delay, so uh, this will be our agenda for today. So I request all of you to be on mute as the session progresses. So if you have any questions, please make a note of it. We can discuss at the end, or we can discuss after each and every point over here. Okay. Um, so so before I go through this agenda, each point over here, I hope every one of you have at least a little bit idea about what is performance testing. I mean, some of you might be from IT or some of you might be from non-IT as well. So um, whoever is coming from non-IT, no need to worry. So we'll be covering everything from basics, right? So like what I have mentioned here. So what is performance testing? This is the first point that we'll be discussing today, and then we'll be going through the LoadRunner architecture, because this is LoadRunner tool from the performance testing. So we'll be going through the architecture of LoadRunner, and we'll record a simple flow and replay and see how it works. And also we'll go through the course content completely, and then finally we'll discuss about the question and answers. One second. Um, hope I'm audible to everyone. Can any one of you please confirm if you're able to hear me?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So if anyone has any audio issue, right? So request you to quickly rejoin. Okay. So let's go with the first point, that is what is performance testing. So over here, I would like to share a particular slide related to software testing. So because performance testing is actually a part of software testing, so that's the reason I would like to quickly uh, differentiate what exactly we have under software testing. So in the software testing field, so we have functional testing and non-functional testing. So what do you mean by functional testing is, it's all about testing the functionality of the application. In software terms, it's all about testing the functionality. For example, I have this particular website open. So if I ask you to test the login functionality of this application, so what I generally do is I browse or launch the application with this URL, let's say, and then I enter some username and I enter some password and I click on login button. So once the user logged in successfully, that means login functionality is working as expected, provided you enter the correct credentials, right? So here it this is under the functional testing, okay, point. So it's all about testing the functionality. Okay, so let's say you have a lift or an escalator. Okay, you board that lift or an escalator and you press 3, then it should go to third floor. That means the functionality of that 3 button is the lift or escalator should go to third floor and stop. Okay, if it is not going to third floor, that means the functionality is not working. If it is going to third floor, that means functionality is working as expected. Okay, then how is performance testing uh, differentiated from functional testing is, if you see the same login functionality, I again enter username and password and I click on login button. So now here, as part of performance testing, I'm not only validating whether user logged in successfully or not, but I am also validating how much time it is taking for the user to navigate to this page. Okay, so all in all, a performance tester will be more interested in knowing how much time a user is taking for navigating from one page to another page. Okay, so that is about performance testing. Okay, in the same slide, so this performance testing is actually a part of non-functional testing is what I mentioned here. So non-functional testing will actually cover all the non-functional aspects like performance, security, etc. Performance testing is one such aspect of non-functional testing. Okay, when it comes to the functionality, okay, we have some automation tools like Selenium, UFT, etc. But when it comes to performance testing, we have some tools like LoadRunner, JMeter, Gatling, NeoLoad, etc. But we all know that LoadRunner and JMeter are most widely used in the market. So again, when it comes to performance testing, if you take the lift or an escalator example, which we discussed few minutes ago. So if you again board the um, if you again board the lift or escalator, and if you press three button, previously we were verifying whether it is actually going to third floor or not. Correct? Now, when it comes to performance, we are actually uh, we are actually verifying how much time it is taking to go to third floor. Okay, that is first point. Second point is whether that lift or escalator has the complete capacity or not. For example, every lift or an escalator have some capacity limit like 8% or 10%. So when all 8 or 10% on board, then how much time it is taking to go to third floor is very important from performance perspective. Okay, so if one person is going, and I mean, there might be some performance issue or there might not be any performance issue because only one person is going. But if all 8 or 10%, that means with all the full load or with all the complete load or full capacity or full load, how much time it is taking to go to third floor is very important for us. Okay. So, um, so all in all, performance testing is all about checking the performance of an application by applying some load. Okay, I'll mention that point here is all about checking the performance of an application by applying load. So what do you mean by load here? So if you don't apply load, then you don't call it as a performance testing. See, if you again, if I take the same lift or an escalator example, so if all 10 or 8, if all 9, 8 or 10 people are not on board, then there might not be any performance issue. Let's say if only one person is using the lift or an escalator, then because there is very less load, you don't see any performance issues mostly. But what if the load is like 8 or 10 users, that is the maximum capacity for that lift or an escalator, then there might be some performance issues. Correct? Okay, so all in all, it's performance testing is all about checking the performance of an application by applying load. Load means the volume, the number of users. Okay, so so let's take any generic example. Let's take any banking example. Now, if any banking client is reaching out to you and asking to check for the performance of that bank application, so how will you test? So you will you test with just one user, or will you just test with like 200 or 500 users with whatever the client is requesting? If you're testing with only one user, that is not called performance testing, right? Even see, just now I just logged in with one user. See, I entered a username here and password here, and I clicked on login. Your user logged in successfully, no issues. But what if 100 users are logging in? What if 200 users are logging in at the same time? Or what if 500 users are accessing this application at the same time? That means you're applying some load. Okay, so load is nothing but the volume or the number of users or the overall volume accessing the application. Okay, so here, what is performance testing? It's all about checking the performance of an application by applying some load. So this term is very, very important. Without this, you don't call it as a performance testing. Okay, so hope everyone understood the basic definition of this. Okay, I didn't give you any textbook or theoretical definition. Okay, I just gave you a generic definition wherein everyone can understand in simple terms. Okay, now why it is important? What if every application don't perform this performance testing? What can happen? See, when these applications, that if they don't perform this performance testing uh, with some users, with some number of users, then what can happen? So in the real time, the application might not perform well. It can be too slow. When the application is too slow, the users will not like it, obviously, and then they will uninstall the application or they will not access the application. In a way, the users are going away, which is directly impacting the financial business. Correct? So, so that's the reason I mentioned here. If performance testing is not conducted, then applications might face problems like slowness. That means you see pages loading forever, some inconsistency, and which may eventually result in business loss. I don't know how many of you remember, I think in the year 2013 or 2014, the that was a time when one e-commerce application, I think for the first time they announced a festival sale or a big sale, something kind of that. So what happened? The sale was, I think, around 12 p.m. So what happened at 12 p.m.? There was a big sale for that particular e-commerce application. I think I remember that application uh, at 12 p.m. the application crashed or application did not respond. So all the users, they were facing some issues like pages loading forever. Okay, pages very loading very slow or loading forever, pages crashing, something like that. Because that was the first time they announced a big sale. They didn't maybe they didn't test it properly with more number of users. See, in any normal day, let's say 5,000, let's say 500 users will be using that application. Let's say on that big sale, maybe let's say some 25,000 users access that application because it's a big sale. Now, what happened? It could not withstand the load of those 25,000 users. Okay, so every software application should be able to withstand the amount of load. Okay, the volume, the number of users. Okay, and when all the users are accessing the software application, there should not be any problem like pages loading, pages crashing, and all that stuff. Okay, it will directly have an impact financially, so it may result in business loss. Okay, so if I have, let's say I'm using some email, okay, some email from some X provider, I'm unable to attach the attachments. Okay, it is taking too much time. I maybe I tried it once, twice, thrice, I tried it for 10, 15 times. Then I got fed up and I uninstall that application or I switch it to another application, email application from a different provider and started using it. That means because the attachment loading was too slow, it resulted in a business loss. The user did not like that at all. So obviously the user switched to a different provider, right? So that's the reason it's very, very important for every application to go through this testing process, performance testing process, before deploying the application live. So before giving it to the real users, so every application should go through this performance testing phase. Okay, so hope everyone by now understood the importance of this performance testing. Any questions so far? So we just discussed a generic definition of this and the importance of the performance testing. Okay, now in the market we have various tools like LoadRunner, JMeter, etc. But LoadRunner, JMeter are the most widely used tools in the market. Now this course is all about LoadRunner. Okay, so I will be giving you uh, a quick introduction of this LoadRunner architecture as well. So here, let's try to understand how LoadRunner works. One second. Okay. So let's derive the architecture based out of some questions. Now let's say there is some banking application. Any application, let's say I took some banking application. Now I am a performance engineer working on this banking project. Okay. Now there is a client. Now the client reached out to us and asked us to do some performance testing for that banking application. Okay. Now, if the client is asking us to test this banking application with 500 users, then what should be our approach? Should I bring 500 people and give them 500 laptops and ask them to access this bank application so that I can verify the logs? Is it possible? Can I bring 500 users and give them 500 laptops and ask them to log in so that I can verify the logs and how it is performing? Is it real?
No,
Is it possible? No. Even if it is possible, let's say client is asking you to test with 2000 users, then from where will you bring 2000 laptops and all that stuff? That's the reason in this architecture we have one component called load generator. Okay, we have a component called load generator. So this load generator will simulate some virtual users for us. Okay, the role of this load generator is to simulate virtual users, and these virtual users will mimic the human actions or the behavior, like clicking a link, selecting some value, okay, and all that stuff. So load generator is again a machine, a highly configured machine, okay, a highly configured machine. Based on its capacity, based on its configuration, it can generate like up to 3000 or 4000 or 5000 users. Okay, again it depends on other factors also, but we will discuss those factors later. But for time being, just understand that based on the capacity or the configuration of the load generator machine, the number of users it can generate will be decided. Like some, let's say we have 16 GB RAM for that machine, so it maybe it can generate some 3000 users. Okay, with some additional factors in uh, you know in taking consideration, considering other factors as well. Let's say it is generating 3000 users. If you have a 32 GB RAM, maybe it can generate up to 6000 users. So it all depends on the configuration of the load generator machine. Okay, so load generator is a component which will simulate or generate virtual users for us. How many virtual users the machine can generate, it depends on the configuration of that load generator machine. Okay, hope everyone understood this. Now now when you have this load generator ready, what else you need to do, what else you need to have to do the performance testing with load runner? So when you have this load generator ready, you need to have the scenarios that you need to test as part of the performance testing. So those scenarios you have to generate or record or develop using a component called Vusion. So for example, in any bank application, what is the critical scenario that we can do a performance test? Can anyone tell any critical scenario in any banking application? Can I write something like this? Transfer money. Is it critical or not critical?
yes,
Very critical, right? Because if a users are not able to transfer money, if that process is very slow, then it will have a huge impact on the business. That means it's a very critical scenario for performance testing. Now this scenario will have multiple steps like this. Like first the user will launch application, then user will log in, then user will navigate to, let's say, savings account. Then user will select a beneficiary. Okay. Then user will enter amount, maybe click transfer button, then log out. So these are the steps that you need to perform for transfer money scenario. Here, transfer money is one scenario within the bank application. And for this transfer money scenario, these are the detailed steps that we need to test. Okay, that means once I run the test, I should be able to tell how much time it is taking to launch the application, how much time it is taking to log in, how much time it is taking to navigate to savings account, how much time it is taking to select a beneficiary, and so on. Okay, now all these steps you need to run with multiple users at a time. Like let's say 100 users should do this, execute all these steps, or 50 users should execute all these steps. But how will they execute all these steps? Okay, so for that, you can use a component called Vusion. You can use a component called Vusion, which will assist you, or which will generate or record or develop this flow. I mean, some flows like this, like transfer money is one scenario. Similarly, you can generate the script for many scenarios like this using Vusion. So Vusion is a component which will generate the script for you based on the scenario. Okay, of course you need to do some enhancement, but all in all, at a very high level, Vusion is a component which will generate the script for your scenarios. Okay, now you have the load generator ready, which will generate all virtual users, and you have the scripts or scenarios ready. Okay, which you can execute. Now there should be some platform or component which should allow you to trigger the execution. So that component is called controller or performance center, or LRE. Okay, so whatever the scripts or scenarios that you develop here, we actually upload it here and configure it on how much time to run, with how many users, and all that stuff. So we upload the script here and configure everything here and trigger the execution. Okay, I repeat, trigger the execution. Okay, and then once the execution is complete, we should be able to analyze the results, right? So that analysis, we will be doing it here in the analysis. Okay, so now again I'll repeat here one important point. So load generator will simulate all virtual users. Vusion will generate the scenarios for all these steps, all this scenario. Once the script is ready, we will upload it here and trigger the execution. Once you trigger the execution, what will happen? All the scripts I uploaded to controller or performance center will be transferred to here, and the actual execution will happen here. And the data will be sent back, and that will be showed up in the analysis in the form of results. The results will be in terms of graphs, various graphs also. Okay, so load generator to simulate virtual users, Vusion to generate scripts, controller or performance test center is to configure the scenario and trigger the execution. Analysis is to analyze the results, but the actual execution happens here. Okay, once we trigger the execution, all the data with all the files will be transferred here, and because the virtual users are here, right, so the actual execution will happen here, and then the data in terms of results will be sent back, and which will be further shared with analysis component. The analysis component will have the in detailed report, what went right, what went wrong during the test, and so on. So any questions? Did you understand this basic information? Because this is just a demo session, I just gave you some high level information of this architecture and what are the components that are involved. Okay, any questions?
Once again with the VU Gen. So, am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so load generator is to simulate the virtual users, right?
Correct.
So, okay, but what happens when it goes to VU gen then? What generator will do with the VU users here?
So here Vusion is generating the script, okay, for
Okay.
these scenarios. That means in the form of code only. Some
Mm-hmm.
statements will be generated, which we are calling it as a script. That script we are actually uploading it to controller because actually we have to configure everything here on the controller or performance center. That means when I say configure, I have to tell for how long I want to run the test, with how many users and all that stuff, which we will discuss in detail soon. And once
Mm-hmm.
the configuration is done, we can trigger the execution here. And once you trigger the execution here, it will transfer all the scripts to this load generator component here. And because the virtual users are already ready here, they will execute those scripts on this machine. Okay. And the
Got it.
results will be, yeah,
The script will be again going back to each virtual users, and based on that, those users are all
uh,
executing it with the
s-
scripts.
script will not go to each virtual user. Script will be going to
Okay.
this load generator machine, wherein each
Okay.
user will access that script and
Yes.
run.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the results will be shared back, and it will be further shared with the analysis component, and analysis component will have a detailed report of what went right, what went wrong, which out of this which of these steps performed very poor, which of these steps performed well, you know, all these things will be captured by analysis component. Now each of these steps like launch or login or select a beneficiary or navigate to savings account, can you tell me how much time is the standard, like let's say I click the link, okay, I'm navigating to another page. According to you, within how much time it has to go to next page? Can anyone tell? Any guess? Whatever may be the application, if you click a link or you click a button, within how much time it has to go to next page, or within how much time it has to load the same page? Can anyone tell?
If there's a normal link, it will go to, it will take a seconds, 1 or 2 seconds.
Mhm.
That is my assumption. If there is a data present on the next page, whether I'm clicking navigating to next page, one page to another page, it depends upon the data, how much time it takes. It might be around 10 seconds if there is a data, and once the data loads, all the data will be on the page so that the whole page will be, I can able to see that. So for that, I can say 10 seconds. If there is
Correct.
only a link, a pop-up, that would be around 1 to 2 seconds. This is my assumption. So you can go with your,
Uh, Correct.
yeah.
Actually, the industry standard is 2 seconds. That means if you are if you are clicking uh, if you are clicking a link, or if you are clicking a button, if you have to navigate from one page to another page, the industry standard is 2 seconds. However, depending on the project architecture, application architecture, if there is a complexity involved, that means, as you said, like if it has to fetch some lakhs of records or millions of records, or if it has to fetch some complex images and all that stuff, it might take a little bit more time, like 3 seconds or 5 seconds, like that. But all in all, the industry standard is 2 seconds. If the project architect or the client is okay for the page to load in 3 seconds or 5 seconds, that also works. Okay. But how will we know what is the max for that application? So that we have to ask, we have to gather that information as part of our non-functional requirements gathering. We have to gather that information from the client. I'll tell you, there is a separate session, probably in 3 or 4 days. There is a separate session wherein we will discuss, once you are assigned to a project, what is the first step that you have to do, where you have to start your work, what is the first activity that you need to do. So that is non-functional requirements gathering, you need to gather information from the client development team and everyone so that you can start working. So without any initial information, you cannot, without any initial information, you cannot start performance testing. Okay, so we'll cover that as part of our upcoming session. So hope you understood these two points from the agenda. So we will continue with the remaining points because this is just a demo session, right? So even if you gain little information from this demo session, I would be happy, because we will be discussing all these concepts again in detail in our upcoming sessions. So
Yes.
sample record and replay is the next point. So can you tell me, if I want to show this to you, which component I should launch for you from the LoadRunner architecture? If I want to showcase, or if I want to walk through this particular point, which component I should use?
Fusion.
Fusion.
Fusion, correct. So once you install LoadRunner, if you search Fusion, okay, you will get this particular component. You can just click on it. So once you install, you can just search Fusion. You can you'll see this Fusion component getting open. Okay, so in today's sample record and replay, I'm going to record 3 steps: launch, login, and logout. These 3 steps I'm going to record for now. Okay, for which application? For this application. So this application URL also I'm writing it here. So this is this application which I'm going to record, and these are the 3 steps that I'm going to record. Okay, now this is a screen that you get to see once you launch Fusion. Okay, just go to file, click on new script and solution. We'll discuss all other options as and when the related session comes up. Okay, so once you click on new script and solution, you will get this page where you need to select a protocol. So we will discuss what is protocol probably day after tomorrow, or tomorrow, day after tomorrow. But the protocol which I selected here, web HTTP HTML, is a protocol that we use for any web application. So any application which is starting with HTTP or HTTPS, any URL which is starting with HTTP or HTTPS, we will be recording using this protocol. Okay, and here I have to save the path. So let's say I'm giving a different path here. So it will go and save in this location, and the script name I'm giving as demo. Okay, let me create. So when I click on create, so a script got created. Okay, a script got created with this default layout. Okay, there is no code, any code here as of now. On the left hand side, you have a solution explorer. Left hand side, you have a solution explorer where you have different options. We will discuss each one in detail in our upcoming sessions. But for time being, just remember that whatever the code that I'm going to record will be saved into this action. Okay, so I just clicked on it. It is pointing to this, and this is a code. This is a placeholder where the code will get recorded. Okay, now how to record? So there is an icon over here which will which is used to record the flow. I'll click on that record. When you click on that record, it will give a window, pop-up window like this, where you need to choose the browser, which browser you want to use for recording purpose. You can choose Firefox, Edge, Chrome. If you don't have that browser also, you can add it. I'll show you how to add in the next session. Just give the URL, select the browser and give the URL, whatever the URL you want to record. So the URL I'll take it from here. So that same URL, okay. And then I'm not going to select any other option. I'm directly going to click on start recording for today. Okay, I just selected the browser, that is Mozilla Firefox, and I gave the URL or the application name which I want to record. Click on start recording. Now, when I click on start recording, what will happen is this particular browser will launch with this particular URL. Okay, What will happen when I click on start recording? Mozilla Firefox will be launched with this URL. Okay, so now let me click on start recording. Now you will see a Firefox browser getting launched in few seconds, and you will also see that particular URL as well. See, Firefox launched. Just wait few more seconds for the application URL which I gave to launch automatically. See here. Okay, see, it automatically launched that application. I did not do anything. And then there is a mobile window over here, this one, which will automatically pop up when you start recording. This is very helpful, very powerful window as well. This one, it will provide various options for us to record easily. So now it has various options like stop recording, pause recording, cancel recording, into which action you want to record, you know, and comment, and there are some couple of other concepts like checkpoints and all. Forget about all those. Just see these two options now. For now, okay, these two. This is insert start transaction. This is insert end transaction. What do you mean by insert start transaction and end transaction? Insert start transaction means before you record any step, first you enter the name of the transaction or that particular step by clicking on this icon. Okay. So what is the next step that I'm going to record? Can anyone tell? What is the next action I'm going to perform on the UI? Login,
Login.
right? So here I will click on this insert start transaction icon and I will name it as login because that's the next action I'm going to perform. Click OK. And then don't click on this end transaction. Before clicking on that, just perform the action on the UI. That means enter the username and password and click on login button like this. Now login is completed. Now wait for few seconds and then click on this end transaction login. That means we are ending the login here. What is the next action we have to perform after login? Log out. So log out is the next transaction or the next step. And then go ahead and click on sign off button on the UI. User logged out successfully, and then end the transaction logout, and just end the logout step also, and then stop recording because these are the steps that we wanted to record. So I'm clicking on stop recording. Now once you click on stop recording, Vusion will generate the script. Okay, Vusion will generate the script for you. See, so once you are done recording, so it will show you recording report. For the time being, just go to the action. See, this is a script it generated. Okay, this is a script it generated, some around 60 lines of code. If you observe carefully, okay, line number 33, it says LR start transaction login. If you remember, on the mobile window, I clicked on insert start transaction. I gave a text called login, okay, and I clicked OK. And then I performed the action on the UI. And then I clicked on insert end transaction login, correct? Now, when I clicked on insert start transaction login, this piece of code generated. And when I actually performed the login functionality on the UI, that means I entered username and password, this piece of code generated. You can see the username and password which I entered. And after logging in, I actually ended the transaction by clicking on insert end transaction, right? So this piece of code generated for that. That means login starting, login ending. In between whatever you have, this code is related to login. Similarly, line number 56, after login, after ending of login, if you see line number 56, we are actually starting logout. And line number 68, we are actually ending logout. In between whatever you have, that code is related to logout. That means the user clicked on sign off button. When the user clicked on sign off button, this piece of code generated. Okay, everyone clear about this? So don't think too much about this code. I will discuss later,
Yes.
but I just want you to understand how the code is generating in sequence. So login started, login ended, logout started, logout ended. Before login, this is login. Before login, we have one request. Can anyone tell what is this request all about?
Launch request.
Okay, it is actually launch only, correct? However, if you observe carefully, you don't have a start transaction or end transaction for launch for this request. Why? Because this request, launch request generated as soon as I clicked on start recording. That means even before the movable window appeared, launch already generated. Okay, so here when I click on start recording, Firefox launched with this URL, correct? Firefox launched with this URL, correct? That means even before the movable window appeared, launch already generated. That's the reason you don't have a start or end transaction. However, you can add it. Okay, you can use these two icons over here to manually add a start transaction and end transaction. So place the cursor before that request and click on this first one, start transaction, and then give a name to it, launch, like this. And after this, after line number 32, again click on this icon over here and end the transaction with the same name. Okay, if you give a different name, it will throw an error. We'll see what kind of error it will throw tomorrow, probably day after tomorrow. But we have added a start transaction and end transaction for launch. Ignore this. This is a different concept. This request automatically generated for some other concept, which we are completely not aware of as of now. So our actual code starts from here. Launch started, launch ended. Login started, login ended, and then logout started, logout ended. So these are the three steps which I wanted to record. Okay, now what I want to do, replay. So if I want to replay, so I just need to click on this replay button over here. Okay, so click on this replay button and it will run and it will give you the result as well. See, it executed successfully and it is giving some information that launch has taken 0.34 seconds, login has taken 0.23 seconds, logout has taken 0.157 seconds. Okay, so it is giving a clear picture of how much time it has taken to execute each of that step: launch, login, logout. But did I run with one user or multiple users here? No.
One. Right.
Did I anywhere update the number of users, or did I anywhere give like 50 users or 10 users or 20 users? No, right? That
No.
means I just executed with one user. This is the result what we are getting for one user. Now, how to run with multiple users and all? The same script, whatever we develop now, this we need to upload it to another component called controller. There we have to configure and trigger the execution, which we'll see or learn in our upcoming sessions. So at least you got to know like how do you record a simple flow and replay it. Okay, any questions?
So here a question from my end. So actually, uh, the moment when you run it, when you replay, you did replay, right? You did
Mhm.
replay. So the moment when you did a replay, so will the application itself ran beyond the screen,
uh,
how the result has given for us?
okay, actually it will have its own replay player, like you I mean I just disabled that option. So if I go to tools and options, basically that is not that much useful. That's the reason we generally disable it. So here we have something called replay. and there is a runtime viewer which you can where you can see how the execution is happening. So if you enable that option, okay, and here if I ignore this step for now because I just want to show you like how it's executing, right? So now if I replay, see there is a runtime viewer where you can see how it is working on the right side. One second. Okay, now you can see on the right side UI. Okay, so but generally I disable that option because that is not that much useful for performance testing, but you know
I'm clear.
you can use it. Yeah, you can use it, but not that much useful. Okay, so
What
now
happens if the last question today? Sorry, sorry,
yeah,
I'm
no problem.
interrupting.
Yeah, yeah.
What if the uh, network speed is less the moment when we are doing the performance testing?
It
Will
can
that
have,
matter?
yeah, it can have an impact on the performance for sure. Network
Hmm.
is always important.
Okay,
So generally whatever the test we run, we configure in such a way that use the maximum network speed available on that machine, that whatever the machine on which you are running the test, use the maximum speed on which is generated from that machine. Okay, so
yeah,
yeah, if you want to run your test with less speed, you can still do that. There is an option in our runtime settings. So I just
okay,
don't want to get deviated, but I just want to show you quickly that there is some speed simulation which you can do. So here while executing you can use the maximum bandwidth available, or if you want to specifically run with like 10 mbps speed or of network speed, or 50 mbps on network speed or something like that, you can choose the option here. Okay, but
yeah,
generally
got it.
clients will not I mean normally, at least in my experience, client never asked us to run with a specific bandwidth. We generally use the maximum bandwidth available on that load generator machine.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
got
we will anyways go through those runtime settings options in our
it. Yes.
upcoming sessions. Yeah.
Mhm.
So next is the course content, so I'll quickly cover because we are running short of time. So I'll quickly cover the course content. So basically this course is designed to cover I mean generally everyone will say the same thing. Okay, I mean you can think of it, but uh, I mean in reality also, I mean if you see, I have been taking this course since many years. So I know that many of the participants generally come from non-IT. Some of them come from IT also. Uh, that's the reason this course is specifically designed to cover everything from basics. Okay. So when I say basics, what is performance testing and what is its life cycle? What is this POC, non-functional requirements, test plan, workload modeling? Okay, and then how you install LoadRunner, how do you update all the required settings? Okay, and then once you record or generate the script, what are the best scripting practices, what are the runtime settings? Okay, and then what are the different recording options available, what if the user is not able to record the flow? Okay, and then how do you validate whether your script is correct or not? That means you need to apply some checkpoints. So here we are calling checkpoints those who are coming from Selenium or JMeter background, we call it as assertions. Okay, in UFT and LoadRunner we call it as checkpoints. And then very important question, like how much of coding is required for this, for the script enhancements? See, whenever you record a script or a flow, uh, there will be some scenarios where you need to do some enhancements, and that enhancements you can only do when you know the very basics of C language or JavaScript. So why I have written C language is because C language is been there with LoadRunner since many years. LoadRunner was recently introduced, but all the projects which are still running in all the companies, they are still using C language as of now. Okay, at least more than 95% of the projects are they are using C language still. Okay, so that's the reason this C language will be our supporting language to learn this tool for this. Okay, and if you know JavaScript, you can use that also. Okay, or if you want me to take like 4 or 5 sessions on JavaScript, I can do that also at the end of the course. But primarily, our supporting language will be C language, because there has been complete support for this C language with LoadRunner. If you go to any forums, online forums, and search for your query or problem, you will get all the answers in terms of C language support with LoadRunner. So it will be easy for you to fix also, or update your scripts also. So the very basic concepts like variables, data types, if conditional statements, loops, select case statement, and functions, these are enough. Okay, like 3 to 4 sessions on C language. These are very basics of C language. These are enough for you to enhance master the script enhancements. Okay, there is no doubt about it. These concepts are enough, and whatever the concepts we cover and whatever the practicals we do, so all the problems will be fixed with the topics that we have learned. Okay, that means every problem or challenge that we face while practicing the scripting part, we will be overcoming that challenge from the topics that we have already covered. Nothing will be out of or nothing will be brought from from internet or somewhere else and directly giving it to you, nothing like that. Okay, and then we have some inbuilt functions which we have to learn. Very important, very easy only actually, some small inbuilt functions. And then one important concept we can learn additionally, wherein we will learn how to write some data to a file, notepad file, and how to read some data from a notepad file. Okay, at the same time, we will also cover what are the challenges in scripting, which is actually part of our interview sessions also, interview question and answers also, but then I just added it here as well. And then there is one important concept called correlation. This concept is there in almost every performance testing tool like LoadRunner, JMeter, etc. This is very, very important. Without this concept, you will not be able to develop the complete script. That means it is that important. Okay. And then you have parameterization. It's all about passing different types of test data or different sets of test data. So parameterization will be focusing on that, passing different sets of test data, because we will be running with multiple users, right? And if you want users to use different sets of data, you have to use parameterization concept. Till here we will learn all the scripting concepts. From there we will switch to controller, where we will upload all the scripts that we developed. We create different types of scenarios like load test, endurance test, scalability test, etc. And then we can trigger a load test from there. Okay, and then we can do analysis and understand what went right and what went wrong during the test. And we should also be able to uh, analyze in detail and provide and send a detailed email to client with all our observations and concerns. So there is a separate session which wherein we are actually drafting an email that we generally send to client with all our observations and concerns, because end of the day it's we as a performance tester should provide the information whether the application performed well or not performed well. Based on our input only, client will decide what to do next. Okay, that's the reason it is very important. I have added a separate session for that. We also have interview question and answer sessions. In this course we generally practice on 4 to 5 applications, different applications, because the more number of applications you practice, the more easy it will be for you when you handle real-time projects. Okay, and there is a separate concept called virtual table server, which is similar to parameterization. We'll be covering that component or utility as well. And along with all these things, we actually have some bonus topics like uh, fiddler and har file scripting. Basically this concept is used when you are unable to record the script using Vusion, and you have to generate the script at any cost, and your Vusion is not working as expected. Then you can use this fiddler or har file scripting. These are alternative methods of generating the script. Okay, then we will also learn APM tool uh, like Dynatrace or AppDynamics. Basically I will give you one recorded session of AppDynamics and I will take a live session on Dynatrace. Okay, or I can do the reverse also. Anything is possible, but most likely it will be Dynatrace live session and AppDynamics recorded session. Okay, I'll try to take a live session for that also, but I don't want to give a false info on that. That's the reason this will be a live session. This will be a recorded session. But if time permits, because both these softwares are not working in the same machine, there is some conflict because both are APM tools from different vendors having some conflicts while setting up. So we'll see. But this one is live session for sure. This one I'll give you a recorded session, and if situation works out, then I'll take live session on this also. And we'll have one simple session on basics of Jenkins, like on these days in the recent past, why Jenkins is coming into picture with performance testing. All these years, nobody used this term Jenkins in the performance testing projects. Why we started using this term, we will discuss that, and we'll also see how can you trigger a load test using Jenkins in your local machine. Okay, this one. And we also discussed some additional protocol called TrueClient, and we'll also discuss something called thread dumps and heap dumps, which is actually all these are performance engineering concepts, but I just want my participants to have some idea about these concepts because they generally will be attending interviews, right? I don't want my participants to get confused, or because these are out of LoadRunner course, but I still want to cover these for you to some extent, so that you will at least get to know what is being asked in interviews and all that stuff. And load balancer algorithm session, how do you connect it to database through LoadRunner? Okay, and what is this AWR report and database bottlenecks? I might give you these two sessions also recorded. If again, if situation favors, then we'll take a live session for these also. Otherwise, worst case, this and these two will be recorded sessions for you. This will be again a live session and a recorded session. Both will be given for this. Okay, any questions? Any questions on the course content?
Yeah, this true client protocol session, when we are thinking of starting it, means if it is
Oh, that will be after 3 weeks.
after 3 weeks, okay.
Yeah,
And
because I mean, as per the sequence, true client is not in scope in the initial weeks.
okay, and will it means how the reporting will be from if it is considered means the client side performance test that will be covered.
Yeah, so basically, true client is a protocol, a different protocol. See now, we just recorded a web protocol, right? If you see here, this is a protocol that I used now.
Yeah.
So this protocol is actually giving us the server response times.
Mm-hmm.
That means, w- let's say this is a client, because we didn't discuss. I mean, we didn't discuss all these concepts yet. I'm not able to explain you in detail, but at a very high level. So generally, every request will go from client to server like this, and server will send a response. So the web protocol is giving you the response time. That means how much time it is taking from here till it goes
Okay.
here, till it gets, I mean, till it gets processed here and till it reaches here. The complete cycle, one two way, how much time it is taking is called response time.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that is automatically calculated by the web protocol. Now, what TrueClient is additionally giving us is, it will not only give you server response times, whatever we discussed just now, it will also give you how much time it is taking for the browser to render the data on the UI. Okay,
Yeah.
so again, so there is one client, one server. So once the data is sent back from the server, the whole data should be loaded on the UI properly, right? That means the browser will take some time to load the content on the UI, right? That is called browser rendering time. So true client is a protocol which will give you both server response time and browser rendering time, both. So in our session, we will learn how this true client is different from web protocol, and we will generate one script. We will run that script in true client protocol and web protocol, and we will see what is the difference in terms of response times. Okay, because true client should include browser rendering time, right? So there will be some difference. So what is the difference? How much difference is being generated? All those details we will see. And why true client? Why, if true client is giving you both, why are we learning web protocol? All these things we'll cover later. Okay. So any other questions? And sessions will be same time, Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. IST to 10 p.m. IST. In case if I miss any of the session on any one of the day due to some unexpected challenges, mostly it might be covered on the weekend, Saturday. Okay, if that too, if everyone agrees. Okay, and if anyone has any questions, you can always reach out to me on my WhatsApp number. I will ping you in the WhatsApp group after this. So if you have any further questions, you can directly reach out to me, uh, or you can call me. We can discuss to get those doubts clarified. Okay.
All these sessions will be recorded.
Yes, all these sessions will be recorded and will be shared on day-to-day basis. That means if I record the session now, 9 p.m. IST to 10 p.m. IST, by tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. or 12 p.m., next day morning, 11 a.m. or 12 p.m., before that, you will get that session, access to that session, and you will have that access forever.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, any other questions?
No, no question.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then, if you have any further questions, right, do reach out to me. If you have any questions related to payment and all, you can reach out to Kumar sir. I will share that number as well in the chat. You can reach out to Kumar sir as well. Yeah. Thank you so much, and hope to see all of you in the upcoming sessions as well. Have a great rest of the
Yeah,
day.
definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.